You might not recognize me, but I promise you that I'm the same guy from the last episode with a haircut.
Foodie Style Channel. Foodie Style Channel.
Hey, and welcome back to Hoodie Style Channel. The time has come to address the software side of things. And after some pondering, I've decided to do something similar to the hardware episodes and split things up a bit. So this episode will be an easy to follow tutorial for installing the Magic Mirror software and an example third-party module. And in the next episode, we will cover the software aspects of Project Elizabeth. Today's episode will be kept on a very basic level because I think that if you're here for the 101, you're probably very new to this. Otherwise, you'd just follow the million documents out there and you wouldn't need this video. Now, I know some of you just watch these videos because you want to see my beautiful face talking. However, today we're actually going to do some practical stuff like installing things, so you might get bored. But hey, you could always subscribe and hope for more FaceTime in an upcoming episode. Now, brace yourselves. This is gonna get real nerdy. Let's get started. For this tutorial, you're going to need a computer with a memory card reader, a Raspberry Pi 2, 3, or 4, a good USB charger for powering your Pi, a micro USB cable for Raspberry Pi 2 or 3, or a USB-C cable for a Raspberry Pi 4. A minimum 8 GB sized micro SD card, a mouse and keyboard, an HDMI cable or micro HDMI in case you have a Raspberry Pi 4. And if you haven't finished your smart mirror hardware build yet, don't worry, you can just plug in the Raspberry Pi into any monitor for now so that you can install the software and start planning your modules and your design. And once everything is done and your hardware is done, you can just plug the Raspberry Pi into your mirror and enjoy it. Okay, today we're going to focus on Magic Mirror, which is an open source modular smart mirror software created by the developer Michael Tew. Not sure I'm pronouncing that right, so a prophylactic, sorry dude. There are some alternative software solutions, but Magic Mirror is by far the most supported platform right now and with a great developer community. It being modular means you have great freedom to customize your design and its functions in many ways. Alright, we'll start by preparing our SD card. So start by putting it inside your memory card reader and hook it up to your computer. Navigate to raspberrypi.com and click Software. Then download the Raspberry Pi imager for your computer. This will help us install Raspberry Pi OS on our card. Once downloaded, just go ahead and open the installer and press Finish. Now let's choose the OS version. The recommended one is the first one on the list, and you may choose that one if you want, but I have a Raspberry Pi 4 here for this example, so I'm going to choose the 64-bit version. Next, choose your SD card and press Write. So this process will take a few minutes, and during this time, you might get some pop-ups asking you to insert the SD card. This is perfectly normal and has to do with the different file systems and partitions. So just press cancel whenever you get one of those notification pop-ups and let the install procedure carry on. And so after a few minutes, our card is prepared for action. Let's put it into the Raspberry Pi, hook up a mouse, keyboard, and display, and finally USB power. Just a quick note here. If you have a Raspberry Pi 4, you'll need a micro HDMI to HDMI cable. The Raspberry Pi 2 and 3 have normal HDMI connectors. Back to the show. Once you power on your Pi, you will be greeted by a window saying, "Welcome to Raspberry Pi." Just go ahead and follow the instructions to set up your location and internet. It should be pretty straightforward stuff. After you've done that, this is what you'll see. This is the desktop of the latest Raspberry Pi OS, and you may notice some familiar functions here. Up in the left corner, for example, you have something similar to a Windows Start button. By the way, before we go on, let me just show you something. A lot of people, including myself, want the mirror to be vertical. So let me show you how you can rotate the screen easily in the OS. Go to the menu and down to the Preferences, then Screen Configuration. This will open a small window where you'll have to go to Configure, Screens, the Active HDMI, and then Orientation. Here you can choose right or left orientation and then just confirm, and you need to reboot, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't want it vertical for this example. But that's how you get the vertical orientation. All right, again, back to the show. So what else do we have going on here? Next to the Start button, we have a web browser, a file manager, and a terminal. We are going to use all three of these, but let's start the web browser first. And just type Magic Mirror. Click the first link to go to the Magic Mirror website. Next, navigate to the documentations, and on the left side, you'll see a link to something called Installation and Usage. Click on that. We're going to follow the instructions presented under the Manual Installation section. Now, let's start up a terminal session, and then we pretty much just need to copy-paste commands. We'll start by installing Nodejs, which is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Don't worry, this won't be on the exam. Just copy the whole text here and make sure you get every character and space. Now, just paste it into your terminal and press Enter. Then let's go on and copy the next line and paste that and Enter. Now that we have Node.js installed, we can continue to the Magic Mirror software. Practically, what we're doing here is just copying a folder from the Magic Mirror repository over to our Raspberry Pi. Once that is done, you can either keep copy-pasting text or just type the rest. Just remember, Linux is case sensitive. We want to navigate to the Magic Mirror folder, so I'm going to type cd space Magic Mirror and then npm install. This will finalize our installation. Okay, Magic Mirror uses a configuration file that you can and will have to edit to customize the mirror to your taste. There's a sample configuration file available, and what we can do is to copy that file and change its name to config.js so that our software has a file to start with. Now, if you check your file manager, you should see that you have a Magic Mirror folder. There are two subfolders here that you should familiarize yourself with: the modules folder and the config folder. The modules folder is where all your modules will reside, and the config folder is where your config file is having a cup of tea. Let's see if we can start our mirror. Just copy the text or type npm start. Remember that you need to be in the Magic Mirror folder before running these commands. And there we go. This is the default look of the Magic Mirror software. These are all default modules: news, some compliments for the unsecure you, upcoming holidays, time, etc. The default weather module stopped functioning a while back, I think, so don't worry about it. But you have plenty of other third-party modules to choose from. To get out of here, you need to press Ctrl Q. Okay, so far so good. If you want a break, let me know so I can grab me some more tea. No? Okay, let's go on and install a third-party module then. Start by closing the documentation tab and go back to the main page. Here we will click the modules link. Things are a bit slower on a Raspberry Pi than you're probably used to, so be patient. These are the third-party modules that kind developers out there have shared with the world. There are a lot of them, and for many different categories. As an example, we will install a module called Globe. This is how a module page looks like, more or less. They can differ from page to page. There is a small presentation and hopefully a screenshot or two, followed by an installation section, and most importantly, a configuration section. Installation procedures can differ between modules, so make sure you read the text properly before starting. This module has a pretty straightforward procedure, much similar to how we copied the Magic Mirror folder from a repository. Before anything though, we need to navigate to our modules folder in the terminal. So type cd modules and press enter. Now copy paste the text from the instructions and press enter. We have now copied the Globe modules folder from the repository to our modules folder. And we can confirm this in the file manager as seen here. Okay, now we have one more step. Magic Mirror doesn't know we have this Globe module available for it, so we need to let it know. And that is done through the config.js file. If you scroll down the globe module page, you'll find an example of a configuration entry. Let's copy that and use it. Copying this text is easily done by pressing the button to the right. Now let's find and open our configuration file. In your file manager, open the config folder and double-click the config.js file. Don't let all this text scare you. I promise you, it's not that bad once you get the hang of it. For now though, we can focus on the module section. You can see that there are module configurations within these brackets here. They contain different text, but they all have the module line in common with a unique module name. Each module configuration starts with a bracket and is ended with a bracket, followed by a comma before next section. Let's put our cursor after a comma sign and paste the text we copied into our config file. Now let me just clean up the indentation here and you'll hopefully see a pattern. There we go. Looks pretty similar to the other module configuration patterns, right? Here we have our module name, then the position we want to see it on our mirror, and a bunch of other options. What these options are and what you can do with them differ widely between modules and is always described in the module page. Here, for example, we can see image size or update interval, etc. I'm not going to change anything here, so let's just go ahead and save what we have done to the configuration file so far. Now let's run the mirror again. Remember, we are in the modules folder in our terminal, so let's go back to our parent folder by typing cd space ... and then enter. Now npm start. And that's our globe module. One last thing you definitely should know about. Remember the position option in the configuration file? What if we want our globe to be somewhere else on our mirror? Magic Mirror has regions that the modules are divided into. Top and bottom are divided into 3 columns, and then there are 5 rows. If 2 or several modules are placed in the same region, Magic Mirror will place them in the order they are registered in the configuration file. So imagine we want our globe to be in the lower 3rd region. Let's change our preference in the configuration file. As you can see here, the complements module, the one working on your self-esteem, is also placed in this region, but it is mentioned before our globe module in this configuration file. This means that the globe module will be placed after the complements module in that region. Let's start the mirror again and check. And there you go. As you can see, the regions are flexible and expand if needed. So, I really hope you liked this episode and that you soon can fire up your long-awaited project back home. Remember, the more you play around with it, the more you'll learn. Like I said before, I really hope you guys like these videos and that they are helpful for you. In the next episode, or maybe in 2 or 3 episodes, I haven't decided yet, we're going to talk about the software aspects of Project Elizabeth, which I think can be very interesting for you. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like these videos, and if you hate them, like and subscribe anyway, or just send them to someone you really hate. I don't know, make someone like and subscribe the videos. This is Hootie, Hootie Style Channel, and I'll be seeing you in the next episode.
Hootie Style Channel.